Come on, you undead freaks! Stay shady!
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am Shady. You are in the zone, and we are coming to you live on this Thursday morning from the beautiful Colorado Rocky Mountains. It is good to be back live. It has been a minute since we've done a live stream. It's good to see all of y'all. If I could, over in the comments, get a couple of 5x5s, that would be terrific. Hey, Share Bear, how are you? Because just like it always works out with me, hey, technology and me were not getting along again this morning. I set up the studio last night, left the studio up, and thank you, Share Bear, appreciate it. I left the studio up. I came back down here this morning to get everything ready to go, and my whole computer was just locked up. Couldn't do anything. I actually ended up shutting it off, turning it back on, and thank the Lord above, all my pages were still up. The studio was still up. So we are good. Real quick before we get to rolling here, this, if you guys remember, back on Prepper Nation, John used to do tie time. When he got enough people in chat, he would do tie time. Now this is, let me come here so you can see this better. This is an official Rush Limbaugh tie that my father-in-law left me when he passed away. Now, I'm not going to do tie time, y'all. That wouldn't be right. I'm not going to do tie time. However, that tie is going to get a prominent place here on the set in memory of John and Prepper Nation. Like I said, y'all, it's been a minute since I've done a live stream. I had all kinds of stuff going on. I'm not reading this from a script or a teleprompter, but I do have notes. I got lots of notes because, hey, there's been a lot going on this week, y'all. And you know what? If you think about it, some of it is not that bad of a news. We've had a pretty good couple of weeks, especially here in the state of Colorado. Starting off with, I think we can all just take a deep breath, let it out. We made it through another weekend of No Kings protest. Now, there are people out there just saying that this No Kings, what are we up to, 20, 30? No, we're up to 3. And people out there are saying this was the biggest No Kings protest ever out of 3. There are even some people out there that are saying that this No Kings protest was the largest public protest in the history of the United States of America. And of course, you have got those out there that are also saying, you know, the numbers are skewed, the pictures are fake, it's all AI, yada, 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 yada. And I got to admit, I did look at one picture. It was an aerial photograph of this huge crowd at the state capitol right here, well, in Denver. And I mean, just huge crowd. One thing about it is, let me see, what is today? Today is April the 2nd. Spring is just now starting up, and we have had some pretty decent weather here in Colorado over the past few weeks. However, when you look at this picture, there is this huge group of people, and spaced out, you know, sporadically through this large crowd of people, there are trees, and these trees are in full bloom. Full bloom. I got apple trees in the backyard, just started budding. I got lilac bushes in the backyard, just started budding. These trees were just full of leaves. So yeah, I'm calling BS on that one. But you know, the thing about it is, folks, this no king stuff, it's not going away anytime soon. I mean, we've had three already. They seem to keep growing. And I'm not going to dwell on all this crap for very long because, and y'all forgive me. Y'all forgive me if this is just a little bit gross. But I look at the whole no kings, the whole thing as it's like a virus, okay? It's like a really, really bad case of herpes. Every time it pops up, it just gets worse. And what what blew my mind about this time around, they actually had a no kings protest in the UK, in England, in Britain, a country that has had a king since the country started. And these people are out protesting no kings in a country that is a monarchy. So it's like I said, I'm not going to dwell on this very long. However, there is one little, if I can pull it up here. Yes, there it is. If I can pull this up here, I want to show y'all how stupid this is and how, well, let's just say not quite all there some of the people are that are participating in these things. And I want to show you no kings protest in small town USA. Now, this is, let me get there. This is Canyon City, Colorado. All right. Most of y'all know I lived there for a very long time. This is Canyon City, Colorado. This is their little rant and rave page. And you have to read the caption. This is funny, but you have to read the caption, and it is hilarious. The caption says, and I know it's kind of hard for y'all to see if you're on your phones or whatever, so I'm going to read the caption for you. No kings protest. Lots of patriots. This is so funny. A magatard thought he would disrupt the peaceful protest by repeatedly driving back and forth in a truck foul with Trump stench. And this is where it gets good, y'all. Thankfully, an American patriot on a bike kept chasing the cowardly pedophile supporter. This is good. Y'all watch this. All right, here comes the truck. Nice flags. And right behind him, there's some geek on a bicycle with a flag upside down. And this is only like 12 seconds long, but let's look at it again. There goes the truck. Look at the way this guy, he's sitting on this e-bike just kind of following behind him. And they're saying, oh, this patriot on this bicycle stopped this guy or chased him away. That is, to me, the ultimate in stupidity. But you know what? It's like I said, y'all, this no kings thing is growing every single time it comes out. It seems like the mentally ill in this country are getting more and more and more. And the thing about it is half these people don't even know what they're protesting for. The whole basis of the protest, no kings, is idiotic in the first place. Then they say, well, Trump acts like a king. Acting like and being is two different things. We could go on, but it is not like Trump is a king. It is not like these people have any reason to protest. So they all just get out there. They wave their little signs. They can't make up their minds exactly what they're protesting. You got trans rights people. You got Black Lives Matter. The whole universe of protest are all centered and put together in one place so they can make their statements. And if y'all looked at that film just a little bit, let me pull it back up here just a second. There it is. Let me get there. Play. There was a little bit I thought right in here. If you look at this crowd here over on the right, you can tell that these are mostly boomers, y'all. These are mostly people that are my age that have completely and totally lost their minds. I mean, it is like in some cases that the daycare centers, the senior centers, all let their residents out on a pass just to go and hang out at No Kings. But it's like I said, we can all breathe just a little sigh of relief that we've got another one down. Another weekend is over. You're still here. I'm still here. Nobody's mind has changed. Everybody is still looking at these people, like a bunch of retards, to just put it bluntly, a bunch of retards. But we made it through it. And it's like I said, it has been a pretty good couple of weeks, not only for the state of Colorado, but for the nation in general. And one of the things that happened here in the state of Colorado, I'm going to go back. One of the things that actually happened here in the state of Colorado, I'm going to pull this over like that. There it is. Okay. Is the Supreme Court of the United States said that Colorado's ban on conversion therapy was illegal. It violated the First Amendment. And I'm going to just kind of play this video. Y'all watch and listen to what this guy says right here.
Supreme Court just ruled against a Colorado law that bans conversion therapy. It was overwhelming, an 8-1 ruling. The justices determined that Colorado's law, which censors certain conversations between clients and counselors based on their viewpoints, violates the free speech clause of the First Amendment. Now, this case was brought by a practicing Christian talk therapist who took on Colorado's law banning conversion therapy. It's a practice favored by many Christian conservatives, encouraging LGBTQ plus kids to either identify as heterosexual or, in the case of trans kids, to identify as the gender assigned to them at birth. Colorado's law banned that practice for licensed therapists. Let's bring in NBC News senior justice reporter Ryan Riley for more on this decision. Ryan, good morning. So 8-1, that's, I think, surprising to a lot of people. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the only dissenting vote here. Walk us through the decision and sort of the issue at play here, because this really did focus on the First Amendment and speech.
Correct. And I think what's essential here is this is about talk therapy, right? This is not sort of about the majority opinion speaks to this being someone engaged in talk therapy. And what the plaintiff here said was that she doesn't predetermine any outcomes or force people into specific methods, but rather there's also no medical intervention, which is an important part, I think, of this overlying majority opinion, which, as you mentioned, 8-1 is, you don't get so many of those on the Supreme Court necessarily these days. But Ketanji Brown Jackson did file that dissenting opinion. The dissenting opinion is actually longer than the core opinion of the court. In this case, you have a 23-page opinion from the majority. You also have two of the justices, the more liberal justices, Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Justice Kagan, who filed the concurring opinion, agreeing with the majority opinion, but also making some distinctions and looking at some of the real details of the law. And then you have the dissenting opinion that says that, from Justice Jackson, that says that the concerns about the First Amendment can be overridden here. But what the majority is saying is that because this is about talk therapy, this is really talking about regulating speech. And so it doesn't necessarily strike down the whole law altogether, but it's talking as applied to how exactly this individual plaintiff in this case is using her talk therapy. And it talks especially about in the opinion, it says that she seeks to help them reach their stated objectives, and that that's what the majority is saying here, that because this is talk therapy, this is a core First Amendment issue.
This decision is perhaps not surprising to anyone who did listen to the oral arguments, but I think the big question people were wondering is just how broad or narrow this decision would be. We know there are more than 20 states out there that have banned the practice of conversion therapy. There's plenty of evidence out there that conversion therapy can be incredibly harmful to LGBTQ plus kids. So do we have an idea? Does it just apply to this case, or what?
Okay, I'm going to stop this for just a second. Did y'all hear what Goober just said, this can be harmful to trans kids. Let me go on before I.
What's sort of the standard now moving forward when it comes to bans on conversion therapy?
Yeah, so the emphasis of the opinion is on as an as applied opinion, right? So as it applies to this specific situation involving talk therapy. I think, there are other parts of the law that the opinion talks about here that there is more of a basis for, and even the plaintiff in this case sort of acknowledged that there were legitimate state interest in regulating some of more of the medical interventions, especially when it comes to minors. But because this was a licensed therapist who dealt with talk therapy, and said that she wasn't necessarily leading people to a predetermined conclusion, that's sort of what the scope of this majority opinion is here.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on.
Okay, so that's enough of that. Let's get back here. I'm sorry that I broke in there for a second, but you heard what the guy said. This therapy is harmful to trans kids. Okay. First of all right, let's all be the adults in the room here. There is no such thing as a trans kid. Okay? Parents are what put this into, or counselors or whatever, put this into these kids' heads. All right? Oh, look, little Johnny's playing with a doll. Little Johnny is so feminine. I'm going to put a dress on little Johnny and tell little Johnny that little Johnny is actually little Mary. No. This is what makes trans kids not trans kids. I mean, listen, y'all, I said it a while ago, I'll say it again. I'm a boomer. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I don't know if they're still around or not, but we had these things called action figures. They were not dolls. They named them action figures so little boys could actually play with them. I mean, we had G.I. Joe. We had Transformers in the early 90s. We had all kinds of these little action figures, every superhero that you can imagine. We had those, okay? Just because a little boy is playing with an action figure does not mean that you put a pink dress on him, put makeup on him, and call him Mary. All right, that's not it. It's a natural process. It's playing, for God's sake. Now, the liberals are completely vapor locked over this whole thing. My God, Brittany Peterson, the little blonde bimbo senator or representative, whatever she is from Colorado, she was on X yesterday talking about, I worked so hard to get this banned, and now the Supreme Court has shot it down because it violates people's First Amendment rights. All right, this Christian therapist has been using this, and the state of Colorado banned it. The liberals are all thinking that they take these kids into a dark room and they shine this light down in their eyes and they waterboard them in the whole 9 yards to get them to not be trans. And that is not what happens at all. The kids come into this counselor sometimes with their parents, from what I've been told. And they come from a Christian biblical perspective, and they simply talk to these kids. And it's like, I think it was Mary said a while ago in the comments, sometimes I cannot find the words for the stupidity of these people and their grooming. I cannot understand it. I refuse to let anyone flip my world to some made-up BS. They can get ticked off or insulted, butthurt, or whatever. The line in the sand has been drawn. Well, the thing about it is, folks, these are our children. All right, they are for us to raise. We have lived in such a nanny state, especially here in Colorado. We have lived in such a nanny state where, both parents are working. We have to. And it's not just here in Colorado, but in most homes these days, both parents have to work just to make ends meet so they can pay the bills, keep a roof over their head, keep food on the table, keep a vehicle running. Most parents are both working. Some of them are working 2 or 3 jobs. So what happens? All right, we walk our children down to our nearest public school. We walk our toddlers down to the nearest preschool, and we let other people raise our children. And that is just what the state wants. That's how come all these representatives, that's how come all these senators, that's how come all these politicians are so upset about this thing being overturned by the Supreme Court. Now, what does that mean to you guys out there that don't live in Colorado? There are 26. The guy in the film said there are over 20. There are 26 other states that have banned this conversion theory. All right? Because they don't want children to have another view. They don't want another input put into this, another viewpoint put into this. They want your kids. They want to mold your kids. They want to make them in the likeness of the state. And there you go. All right. So it was good news. And it was an 8-1. 8-1 vote by SCOTUS. They said, you can't do this. This violates the therapist's freedom of speech. It's against the First Amendment, and you can't do it. So let's see here. What else? Moving right along. Another little bit of good news that we had here in the state of Colorado was, let me see if I can find it here. I know I got it somewhere. I got notes, y'all. I got notes. Hang on. Sorry about that. I want to talk about this guy, but I need to find the rest of the stuff on him, and I don't see it anywhere. Oh, well, we're just going to go with it here. Folks, this is Nick Henriksen. He is a senator, a state senator here in Colorado. He represents Colorado's 3rd district. That's down in Pueblo, the surrounding area of Pueblo, for a very, very, very long time. And I really don't want or don't mean to diss Pueblo, but I've been here since 1993, and Pueblo's been famous for a few things. For one thing, chilies. Great roasted chilies every single year. For another thing, gangs and drugs. Drugs and gangs and drugs. There are certain parts of Pueblo, like a neighborhood that is fondly nicknamed Dog Patch, the east side of Pueblo. You don't go there. You have Crips, you have Bloods, you have Mexican Mafia, you have Serranos, you have Paisas, you have the whole gambit of gangs that run this city, or that are running parts of this city. You don't go there. And then out of Pueblo comes this goober. And Nick, Mr. Henriksen, was another one of those guys that was assigned. He was assigned his position after another senator retired. He retired and got a better job. And like I said, I had all these notes, and now they're gone. Anyway, Nick replaced this senator. He's just like, what was the guy's name? Tim Hernandez, who also has raised his ugly head back in politics again. I was getting ready to do a video on him. But another assignment. You see, when a senator in Colorado, and I don't know how it works in other states, but when a senator or representative in the state of Colorado retires, they get this little group. And I only know of it happening in the Democratic Party. It could happen on both sides, and if it does, I apologize. But I know that in the Democratic Party, they get this little group together and they assign somebody to the office that was vacated. Well, Nick Henriksen got assigned to his position, and then when the election came up, he won his election by this little tiny thin margin. Pueblo is starting to come around. Pueblo has went from being deeply blue to being purple and leaning toward red right now. But this guy, I mean, look at him. Does this not look like, well, for lack of better words, does this not look like a pervert to you? This guy actually tried to pass, where is it? Okay, Senate Bill SB 26097. He actually sponsored this bill. And what is SB 26-097? 097 was going to legalize prostitution in the state of Colorado. It didn't make it. It got such little support that it never even got off the ground. But this guy, and I believe our Antifa communist Senator Representative Lorena Garcia also was on this bill. And it didn't even get off the ground. But you know what? That is not all. He also sponsored SB 26-013. And that bill was to exclude cohabitation from elements of bigamy. That bill passed, but it's worthless. I don't even know what he was trying to do with that. What the bill is saying is that if you're a guy and you want to have 3 wives and you all want to live together, it's okay for y'all to live together. You can cohabitate without being pointed out as being a bigamist. Okay? Look, y'all, I just to be honest with you, it's all I can do to handle 1 wife. I don't know what I would do with 3. You'd probably end up finding me hanging somewhere if I had that kind of stress. But like I said, it passed. It's worthless. And all that. Another one that this dude sponsored, I found him. Another one this guy sponsored, SB 26-048. Remove exception to marry with judicial consent. Okay, what that was supposed to do, and this is under consideration. All right, this is actually going through the processes, going through the committees and stuff. What this does is it lowers the legal age of 18 for you to marry without the consent of your parents. It lowers that age from 18 to 16. Do you see a pattern starting to emerge here with this guy? Just a small little pattern starting to emerge with this guy? Yeah. Like I said, it lowers the age from 18 to 16, and it is going through the committees right now. It may well pass. And isn't it sort of ironic that the state of Colorado wants kids at 16 to be able to marry without parental consent? They want kids at the age of 16 to be able to vote. However, they just passed a bill last year saying that you have to be 21 years old to buy a hunting rifle. It used to be 18 you could buy a hunting rifle, and I think it is in most normal states now. At 18 you can buy a hunting rifle. You have to be 21 to buy a handgun. But can you not see a pattern starting to emerge with this goober right here? Yeah. And let's put just a little bit of icing, just a little bit of frosting, a little vanilla, a little chocolate, maybe a strawberry on top of this. For the past 3 years, this guy has voted against imprisoning child rapists. Right now in the state of Colorado, a child rapist, according to the way things go right now, you get like probation or something. This guy wants to just completely, they've been trying to push to put these perverts in prison, and this guy has voted against it 3 years in a row, y'all. But good news. And I mean, like I said, one more time, look at him. Nick, son, Scooter, I hate to tell you this, but your extracurricular activities are still going to be illegal at the end of the day. So that is what is going on. And it's like I said at the beginning of the video, y'all, it has been a pretty decent week, couple of weeks here in the state of Colorado. All right. We have seen prostitution get shot down. We have seen SCOTUS shoot down conversion therapy. And those are all good things. No kings. We made it through another weekend of all that. There was a couple of other things that I wanted to get to today, but hey, you know how it goes with me, y'all. I'm trying my best. Hey, Loretta, you leaving already? Loretta says, have a great and blessed day. Be extra safe out there, family. Love y'all. Hey, Loretta, we love you too. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you being here. One of the big things on the news last night was they launched the Artemis spacecraft that is supposed to go to the moon, go around the moon, come back to Earth. And they're saying that this is just one of the many space flights that they're going to. And of course, there's a movie coming out here pretty soon called Disclosure Day. I'm getting ready to dig into some things on this. I've been working on a video on this. Another one of my rabbit hole videos, like the last one, the Matrix one. Not as scripted, hopefully, as that last one was. But let me tell y'all something right now. If you go see this movie, if you go see it, don't believe every word. It goes into a rabbit hole, y'all, and I really don't want to get onto it on here. But anyway, this is going to be a fairly short live stream. I am so happy to see you guys. I've got to get back into the habit of doing these. I wish we could have coffee every day, y'all. I really do. But I work for a living, you know. Maria says, I think it's a waste. Is that the new movie that you're talking about, Maria? Disclosure Day or whatever. It's kind of funny. This is a Spielberg movie, if I remember correctly. And it was only a couple months ago that Trump said that he was going to release all of the UFO files. All right. So there's kind of a conspiracy theory pattern that is emerging here, y'all. It's like I said, I've got another video that I'm working on that. But until then, I hate to cut y'all off this quick, but I got things to do. This is my last day off. When you're retired and you only work part-time, you only work a couple of days a week, and they always pick the days where everybody else is off. So I've got to finish up a few things around the house. I got to work some more on this video. Hopefully, we'll be able to do this again next week. I'm still trying to move over to Tuesdays, but most of the time, y'all, on Tuesdays, I'm still getting the video for Thursday ready to go. So either I need to start earlier or something. The space trip, Maria, I don't know. You know, I agree with you in a lot of ways. Maria thinks that the space trip is a total waste of time and money. And in a lot of ways, I agree, because honestly, y'all, I don't see us ever going past the moon. I don't see us going to Mars. I mean, I know it's a big pipe dream for everybody out there, and it would be fantastic if it really happened. I have some issues with it. I don't think we'll ever get there, but you know what? If they want to kick it around, they want to give it a try, more power to them. Although SpaceX and Elon Musk could have probably done it a lot cheaper and a lot quicker. All right. I'm not going. I'm not going either, Maria. There ain't no way. I'm too old. Not going to leave the planet. All right. All right, Monkey, have a great day yourself. Keep your eyes on God also. That's going to play a lot into the disclosure video that I'm going to do, just so y'all know we're going to go there. But until the next time, I want y'all to take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great day. God bless every single one of you. And hey, y'all know it. Stay shady.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! On these shields, boys!